The word prodigy can be thrown around carelessly in sport, putting unnecessarily high expectations on young athletes. John Schoen doesn't use that word when it comes to his son Ben. He doesn't need to. Strangers will do it for him.
You know, it's interesting because when you're at the games, you'll be watching the game, and all of a sudden a guy will come up and he'll just start talking to you about the game. You start talking to him, and you ask him, "Who's your son? Who are you watching?" And they're like, "Well, I'm here to watch your kid."
Ben Schoen just celebrated his 16th birthday. He's a freshman at Anthony Wayne High School. He's been playing hockey since he was 3, but skating from about the time he could walk.
Ben is one of those kids. We had this story when he was 2 years old. I had to find skates that would fit him. So I finally found some rollerblades with the adjustables that would fit him. We put him on his feet, and he stood up in the garage and started doing crossover turns with speed.
The skating may have come easy, but the love of hockey took a little more time.
The first time I actually didn't like it. I was kind of crying and stuff. It was kind of, I was just out there. I didn't really enjoy it. But then I kind of got into on a team almost. It was like house. And my first game, I scored a couple goals. I just fell in love with the game ever since.
And since that first game, Ben has embraced the sport, just like all the others he's tried.
Well, Ben's just one of those kids. It's like anything he does. People say he has the fastest hands in baseball for hitting. In basketball, he's like played on the best AAU basketball team as a point guard because he's so quick.
Now, before you think this is just a proud dad's opinion, let's present the facts. After playing youth hockey in the area, Ben tried out for an elite program called the West Coast Selects.
And it was a camp for pretty much the whole United States. They'd have kids from St. Louis, Chicago come and try out for this team. So I made the team, and I ended up flying out to Italy, Bolzano, and that was my first pretty big tournament, and I played against Team Russia, Team Finland, so it was kind of like right there, I kind of realized, I could do this, I could play with the best.
Not only could he play with the best, he also ended up playing for one of the best.
I ended up trying out for the #1 team in the country, which was Little Caesars, and actually the head coach called me. His name's Chris Draper, played in the NHL for 20 years.
Yes, that Chris Draper, the 4-time Stanley Cup champion and the 2004 Selke winner as the NHL's best defensive forward.
It's pretty unreal. I was like, wow, Chris Draper wants me to come play for his team, so it's kind of a no-brainer to just, take the offer.
So to put this in perspective, here's Ben, a kid in junior high school, playing for one of the all-time Detroit Red Wing greats on the top team in the country. His stock started to rise, and college coaches didn't just take notice. They came with offers in hand, including Miami of Ohio.
I called them. I just thought it was going to be a normal phone call. And, they told me, they sat down with the coaches, and they'd like to offer me a full ride. And I kind of sat back and I was shocked. It's just unreal. At 14 to get a full ride offer, it was pretty cool.
His younger brother came out into the room and said, "Ben just got offered a full ride scholarship to college," and we're just like, "What? No way!" He's in 8th grade. And sure enough, we came in there, and they were very, excited to offer him a full ride, and they think he's going to be a great player. And it was shocking. I mean, it's an 8th grader. He was the only 8th grader in the country that we knew of, so it's pretty crazy.
A full ride offer to play college hockey as an 8th grader. If that was the end of the story, it would be an incredible success. But it's not over quite yet. Before he even finished his first year of high school, the United States Hockey League came calling.
It's a development league for college, but each team has a thing which they can tender a kid, which means if they offer you a tender, they lose their first-round draft pick. And, I got called by the Youngstown Phantoms, wanted me to come out and skate. I said, why not? They decided, they liked me a lot, and they were willing to give up their first-round draft pick, so they offered me a tender, and so yeah, next year I'm going to move to Youngstown, Ohio.
So a young man who would be a sophomore at Anthony Wayne next year will instead move to Northeast Ohio and play hockey against 18 to 20-year-old men. Now, how do mom and dad feel about that?
It is a little bit nervous for myself, my wife especially, but the one thing that those coaches said is that, he's so quick, he doesn't get hit very much. He's got his head up all the time, so he's got the qualities of a hockey player that you need to have, so hopefully that will help him in that.
As for Ben, he's well aware of how unique his story is and hopes the final chapter is a long way from being written.
3 other kids in the whole United States to get that offer to play in that league. It's like, you know, for me to be the 4th, it's kind of like, it wakes you up and lets you know, like, you got something special and you need to do something for it. And I'm just doing my best to get to where I want to be, eventually the NHL.